Good day. Thank you for this opportunity. Redefine Properties Limited is a South African-based real estate investment trust with a diversified property asset platform valued at 75.3 billion rand. Our primary goal is to grow and improve cash flow to deliver quality earnings, which will underpin growth in
Good day. Thank you
distribution.
for this opportunity.
Guys, I'm very sorry. Someone's speaker is too loud. Please make it a little bit not as loud as now as possible. And sorry for interrupting you. Yeah, please.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Please go ahead.
Our primary goal is to grow and improve cash flow to deliver quality earnings, which will underpin growth and distributions and sustain value for all stakeholders. South Africa is in its 27th year of democracy and still impacted by the apartheid special planning. The unemployment rate is at 34.4%, with over 70% of small to medium enterprises failing. We have selected 6 SDGs we can have an impact on, and these SDGs are aligned to our strategic goals, being an introduction to a net zero pathway, guiding us into transitioning to a low carbon economy, achieving 5% energy saving, reducing water withdrawn by at least 5%, and creation of sustainable spaces that have an impact in communities we operate in. As innovators, we have identified the following challenges: underutilized spaces in our portfolio amounting to 444 million rands, creation of green assets, and the untapped informal market segment that has an estimated annual revenue of 100 billion rands. Please allow us to present our integrated solution-driven approach for asset optimization and implementation of modular ecosystems that achieves our objective of creating and managing spaces in a way that changes lives.
As we all know, we are currently living in unprecedented times whereby more pressures are going to be left at the door of property owners as tenants opt for shorter term leases at lower rentals and in some cases opting to vacate. So in our ideation, we thought about ways in which we could possibly reduce our vacancies within our portfolio by reducing the cost burden on our tenants in alignment with our organization's moonshot, which states that in this decade, we want to deliver the smartest and most sustainable spaces the world has ever known. So keeping our moonshot in mind, one of the possible opportunities we looked at was how we could better use our vacant land to potentially generate power for some of our properties on our portfolio. The graph illustrated was from a publication put together by the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research in 2018, which shows how the average electricity tariffs have increased in South Africa since 1970. This is obviously a concern to property owners like ourselves, but to our tenants as well, who need to carry the bill. So what we thought may be beneficial is for Redefine to look at potentially developing wind or solar farms on our vacant land with the intent of generating power for Redefine-owned properties. The benefits of these include that it reduces our reliance on the grid, it's a renewable and cleaner source of energy, and it allows an opportunity for energy generated to potentially be sold back to the grid. The cons, on the other hand, is that it's capital intensive, wind power creates noise pollution, and buy-in from our partners will be required for jointly owned land. But ultimately, in order to reduce our vacancies, be it in our properties or land, we believe that we need to think of implementing sustainable solutions within the business, which aims to benefit our shareholders, tenants, as well as the environment in which we operate. And this is where we believe our second solution of creating modular ecosystems that my fellow colleagues will now elaborate on could be a game changer within our sector.
Listed Property has maintained a Western-centric focus of approach and mainly looks at those part of the formal economy. Our proposal is to radically rethink our retail offering by developing micro-ecosystems in new markets that will directly speak to the needs and desires of the community we operate in, but also provide greater value to our stakeholders. The proposed micro-ecosystems are flexible, modular, scalable, container-based solutions that can be placed within existing underutilized buildings or on vacant tracts of land. The development will comprise a mix of established local and national retailers, as well as entrepreneurs identified through our incubation program. A key aspect of the development would be the hub, which we'll touch on shortly. Key to the operation and community adoption of the program would be the implementation and development of a tenant incubation plan. The key aspects of this plan is to firstly identify emerging retailers within the market, provide key business education, promote inclusionary finance principles, and ultimately stimulate growth and expansion within our formal retail environments. For consideration, we've prepared 2 business models. The first of which is National House, a building currently underutilized, located in a node that is suitable for regeneration. Cost-wise, we've estimated at 3.4 million rand at a first-year yield of 16.1%. Second option is a vacant piece of land named S&J, located next to a dense urban settlement with very little education service and or retail provided within it. We've looked at a cost of 2.2 million rand at a first-year yield of 20.18%.
The fundamental elements of this initiative. The hub offering will be more than just a retail offering that brings convenient access of goods and services to the communities where ordinarily people from those communities would have to travel far from home into the cities and urban areas to reach a number of basic offerings. Each hub will be tailored to suit the needs of the community in which it's located. This will be largely informed through consultation with community leaders and key stakeholders. On this scale, the various hubs will include a number of activities, such as shopping, where the tenant mix will be dependent on the needs of the community informed by stakeholder engagement. Recreational and sports activities. We've identified that from a social development perspective, there aren't a lot of facilities in this regard that are directed specifically at the youth, and thereby alleviating a number of social ills associated with young idle minds. Mobile healthcare units, providing accessible and subsidized healthcare through partnerships with institutions already in that space, which will reduce the state-offered clinics that are often overburdened, as well as learning and training facilities. Each hub will be Wi-Fi enabled to cover an allowable range where customers will be able to receive internet access at no charge.
1
We've
minute
already
left.
rolled out a number of these initiatives successfully at a number of our malls and retail centers. Further to that, the hub, from the data collected from the devices, we'll be able to improve the ecosystem even further by providing specific ancillary services and products that are searched by majority of the people. In our collaboration with key stakeholders, we've identified a partner that installs solar panels on these structures that will enable us to generate electricity back to the grid, with a future goal that if enough ecosystems are in close proximity with each other, they'll connect with each other and offer power back to the community. We envision the modular hub offering as a full ecosystem that adds value directly to the communities in which it is located in. Our strategic focus has evolved largely from location to location, insight, and experience. And we believe that this hub ecosystem delivers exactly that, successfully accessing a market that has been previously untapped, providing sustainable value for all stakeholders, while enabling us to increase our resilience and partnering with aligned stakeholders.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Almost super accurate in time. Great presentation. Passing my word to our jury and experts. Please, this time, maybe we will start from Hans.
With all sorts of pleasure. Thank you. What a fantastic venture this is. Question, which part of the value chain do you actually want to take care of yourself, and which part is done by partners? All the way from financing these modules down to maintenance, for instance. Which parts do you do yourself, and which parts do you need partners for?
If I may answer that, so Redefine is an owner-operator of property. So we would be self-financed and we would run the entire value chain of the process. And then by identifying key emerging enterprises within the community we operate in, we can start pulling in these micro enterprises into the maintenance portions of the developments and further enhance delivery across the value chain.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Cynthia, maybe from your side, any questions, recommendations?
Again, excellent presentation. It's huge. That's my first thing. The whole thing is big, and I can really see the impact it would have on local communities. I guess I have a question around accessibility in terms of individuals getting into those spaces from the community. How easy is it? How expensive is it? If you had said it, apologies. I may have actually missed it, but is it easy for people who has like a stall within a community to actually, occupy one of your spaces? Is it expensive? How, I wasn't very clear on the accessibility of the venture.
Thanks, Cynthia. So ordinarily, Redefine owns major retail malls currently. And by having these modular ecosystems directly in the community is actually to bridge the accessibility gap that we currently have at this stage. Because in a big retail mall, there's a barrier to entry for smaller businesses in terms of pricing, deposits and guarantees that are normally required. Whereas on a smaller scale, especially offered directly to the communities in which it operates in, it cuts down those barriers while bringing products and services directly into the community.
Thank you for your answer. Tupaima.
Yeah, thanks very much for the presentation. Really great, super clear. I do have a question around the asset optimization part of what you presented, just because I get the sense that there's a lot of focus in terms of energy production for the other properties. And as a layman, I guess my understanding is that things like wind and solar it needs to be at scale in order to be sort of financially viable. And I wonder how much you've thought about that and sort of at what scale you need to develop these energy solutions in order to make it good in terms of the business case for it.
Thanks, Tapia. Yeah, so I think from our side, we haven't run the numbers completely just to see what the impact will be in the long term. But in South Africa currently, we get most of our power from our main utility, which is a subsidiary of the state. And, most of the electricity comes from coal. And we're thinking that by developing newer renewable sources of energy, we can get off the grid and reduce our impact on the environment by doing so.
Thank you, team, so much for your answers and for your great presentations. And thank you for letting us know about the issue and the solution. Thank you, jury, as well. And good luck, guys, with your project.